opinions expressed on this show are those of the participants, the hosts, the guests, and the callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions and views of Southern Stone Communications, WNDB Radio, its employees, and friends. Comments regarding WNDB's programming can be addressed to D. Lang at DaytonaRadio.com.
Live from Daytona Beach, Florida, bringing a voice to America's forgotten working class, speaking the truth for the America that Washington left behind, making America great again, 1 hour at a time. This is Trump Talk Live, where we the people have the right voice, presented by the Republican Party of Volusia County. Here now are your hosts for this episode, Vic Baker and Joe Fieldus.
Greetings, fellow American Patriot Republicans, and welcome to the new American moment. Safe, strong, and proud America. Make America accountable. America first. Revival of the American dream. FBI exposed episode of Trump Talk Live, the home of fearless truth-telling about our transformational president and his mission to restore an American greatness that drives delusional Democrats to terrified tears, furious frowns, and sheer panic. The blue wave is not going to happen. President Trump is standing up for the working families and small businesses who built America, and not the D.C. parasites who feed on taxpayers' hard-earned dollars and dreams. Fancy Nancy and Chuck the Schemer are at their wits' end. Not far to go, my friends, because President Trump gave what many are calling the finest presidential address of the century. Echoes of Reagan and then some. Democrats have no defense against the truth. Even their liar-for-hire accomplices in the mediacrat mob can't hide reality any longer. They can't handle the truth. They're still trying to pull the wool over our eyes, but the truth will set us free and send the Democrats and their fraudulent government-first, grievance industry, identity politics to the dust heap of history. We'll dig through the dirt on that FISA memo, but first, let's hear the soaring message of a president who knows what America's really about.
Less than 1 year has passed since I first stood at this podium, in this majestic chamber, to speak on behalf of the American people and to address their concerns, their hopes, and their dreams. Each day since, we have gone forward with a clear vision and a righteous mission to make America great again for all Americans. These are the people we were elected to serve. No people on earth are so fearless or daring or determined as Americans. And together we are building a safe, strong, and proud America. The state of our union is strong because our people are strong. There are people whose heroes live not only in the past, but all around us, defending hope, pride, and defending the American way. The people dreamed this country. The people built this country. And it's the people who are making America great again. As long as we have confidence in our values, faith in our citizens, and trust in our God, our nation will forever be safe and strong and proud and mighty and free.
Trump Talk Live comes to you from the Daytona Beach studios of WNDB 93.5 FM or 1150 AM on the dial. Our thanks to the maestro of master control, Phil Kincaid, who delivers the voices of Trump world to you each week. Flawlessly, I might point out. You can also listen to us online by going to TrumpTalkLive.com and clicking on the link. Usually, you can watch a live web stream of our broadcast by going to the Volusia County Republican Party on Facebook or searching Trump Talk Live through the Vic Baker channel on YouTube. Replays will be available later tonight or early tomorrow morning. Our thanks to Volusia TARS Chairman Duncan DeMarsh, who helps us present the graphics on our live web stream when it happens, with capable assistance from Ian Escalante and Malcolm Swaggerty. I'm your Trump Republican truth teller, Vic Baker, hosting Trump Talk Live tonight alongside my faithful sidekick and fellow analyst of all things MAGA, 2016 Trump-Pence Volusia campaign chairman, Joe Fieldis. Joe.
Good evening, Vic. Hello, friends. If you're listening to Trump Talk Live tonight, chances are you watched the State of the Union address, and you saw how the Democrats behaved. Their nasty, angry, bitter faces were on full display. They didn't even try to hide it. When the president reminded them that the people dreamed this country, the people built this country, and it is the people who are making America great again, the Democrats had a collective sour look and sat on their hands. Neither would they applaud the fact that people will be paying less taxes and have more money in their pockets, or that jobs are returning to our country because businesses can now afford to invest in America thanks to tax reform. They would not applaud giving veterans a choice in where to get their health care, or firing those at the VA for not helping the people they are supposed to serve, or lowering the price of prescription drugs. And they plainly disliked repealing the Obamacare mandate, which had forced people to either buy unaffordable health insurance or pay a fine to the IRS if they did not. They would not applaud a call for fair trade to replace the so-called free trade that cost millions of Americans their jobs, or agree that putting sanctions on the communist dictators of Cuba and Venezuela for abusing their citizens is justified. They would not applaud lifting our people from welfare to work, from poverty to prosperity, or opening more vocational schools and giving additional support to the existing ones, or investing in infrastructure to fix the crumbling assets that currently exist. They would not applaud enforcing our immigration laws so that our citizens do not have to suffer their sons and daughters being raped, robbed, and killed by criminals who should not even be in our country. Or the fact that we're close to totally defeating ISIS, or keeping Guantanamo Bay prison open and no longer releasing captured terrorists to go home and then later kill us some more. They would not applaud providing foreign aid to only those countries who want to be friends with the United States, or that standing for our national anthem is the right thing to do. They sat stone-faced as the president said that the job of government is to serve and protect the American people. They would not even applaud the fact that black unemployment is at an all-time low, with the Congressional Black Caucus staring into space, looking sick. Tuesday night was an appalling display of who Democrats truly are. Everything happening that is good for the people of our country made them visibly unhappy. The whole nation saw it, and no one will forget the images. Vic, we must drive these anti-American donkeys out. Drive them out of office, local, state, and federal. Drive them out. November 6, 2018 is our day to vote and their day of reckoning. Let's roll.
The American people will render a verdict on their behavior. Sarah Carter, becoming a star investigative reporter, says there's a concerted effort by the FBI, Department of Justice, I say that in quotes, intelligence community to force President Trump to delay release of the memo, which, by the way, according to the latest word, he's going to release tomorrow, unredacted. And they are panicking in the intelligence community. Let's hear the first comment from Sarah Carter.
One of the reasons I gave a number that was...
Sarah Carter.
It appears that there's a concerted effort on the part of the FBI, members of the intelligence community, and the Department of Justice to try to force the president to delay the release of the memo. And they're doing this in an effort to buy time, according to sources that I've spoken with, so that they can leak information to try to find a way to either discredit the memo or placate those members of the DOJ that don't want to see this released. They are terrified about the American people finding out what's in this memo, because it does expose members of the DOJ, members of the FBI, and others violating and it names names, and it actually shows extensive FISA abuse. This needs to be made public. The American people have a right to see this, and the intelligence people I've spoken with and U.S. officials who are familiar with this memo say this memo in no way violates the intelligence community's standards as far as disclosing anything that would be related to national security.
Now, going further, last night on Hannity, Greg Jarrett, who's also an attorney as well as a Fox News analyst, said the dossier used by the FBI to get the FISA surveillance that Trump talked about last March, at which everybody scoffed, it was full of Russian lies paid for by the Clinton campaign to smear Trump. And that's a pile of crimes. Let's listen.
And that would be a crime called deprivation of rights under color of law, punishable by 10 years. You can't use a false document to spy on somebody.
Or unverified, but it is false.
And if they alter the 302 forms, the witness forms, well, that's obstruction of justice. Look, Rosenstein and the FBI must think everybody in America is really stupid. That they're compounding their felony by trying to cover it up. At first, you know, the pretense of, oh, you're going to reveal sources and methods. They've now dispensed with that fiction, and now they're saying, well, it's omissions. Well, they're the ones who are responsible for the omissions. They've been trying to obstruct a legitimate investigation by Congressman Gates and others on Capitol Hill, which have oversight responsibility under the Constitution.
Sarah Carter further on the attempt to alter what are called 302s. Those are the notes the FBI agents write describing what went on in interviews with the Clintons and their associates about what was said during the interviews. Listen to this from Sarah.
What we know is this, and what I know is this. I've spoken to a number of sources who have said that McCabe had actually asked members of the FBI, an FBI official actually, to alter the 302. Whether the 302s, those are the witness interviews that the FBI conducts with the witnesses.
And who did they want to alter?
Well, I don't want to talk about that just yet until we verify it, but there was one person in particular that they believe McCabe had asked the FBI agents to alter the 302s. And I think this is significant. It doesn't mean that they altered the 302s, but even the fact that if they were asked, allegedly, if this actually happened, that is a huge violation, Sean. And it's something that they're going to be investigating.
Because we're running out of time, what you're saying is, assuming we got the memo tomorrow, that means the day after, and that means next week and the week after, that we're going to find even more abuse than what it is that I'm talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely. And another very important question here is, when the warrant was issued, who kept reauthorizing the warrant over and over again?
Was it Rod Rosenstein?
There is a lot of discussion that it was Rod Rosenstein who kept reauthorizing the warrants.
And then Matt Gaetz, our congressman from I think the Panhandle in Florida, Joe. He's convinced this memo exposes crimes committed by high-level FBI and DOJ officials at the very least.
I believe that the information in this memo absolutely proves that the Mueller investigation is built on a rotten foundation, that the entire Mueller probe is a fiction, that it never should have been started in the first place but for bad acts. Right. And so that's my view, and I would suspect that most of the American people would hold that view once they read this memo.
So I can hardly wait for all of you to read this memo and decide for yourselves. We'll be back in a moment.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. Stay tuned for more Trump Talk Live, bringing a voice to America's forgotten working class 1 hour at a time.
Feeling stuck in a state of compensation stagnation? You know, another year with no raise. Then let State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand help you get to a better state with a discount double check that can stretch your hard-earned dollars a little farther. Sonia will go through your car insurance to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. Discounts that could add up to 40% and put a few hundred extra dollars in your pocket. Sound good? Then get your budget to a better state by calling State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand today. Discounts may vary state to state.
In racing, there is no greater feeling. There is no greater history. There is no greater tradition than the Daytona 500. And this February 18th, there is no greater place to be as the Great American Race celebrates its 60th running. Last year sold out, so there is no greater time than now to guarantee your seats. Join us for the history-making 60th running of the Daytona 500. Sunday, February 18th. Guarantee your seats at 1-800-PIT-SHOP or Daytona500.com.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
Okay, there's one item here called Full of Schiff on Democrat memo. After the House Intelligence Committee voted to release the 4-page Nunes memo summarizing the abuse of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act in the course of the 2016 presidential election, Joe, ranking minority member Adam Schiff rushed to the microphones to disparage the release, saying he had some alternate truth of his own. But honestly, the analysis is showing that they're just trying to do everything possible to throw a smokescreen in front of this.
The level of their panic really has raised the anticipation even higher, because why would anyone be this panicked if it was nothing?
The FBI is panicked. Christopher Wray Aldi's new at the FBI, acts like he's panicked for his job. Rod Rosenstein, there's some word that Christopher Wray may decide to threaten to resign if they release the memo. Well, so be it. Get out of there. McCabe is going to be probably entirely fired, lose his pension as a result of this, and may face jail time.
The thing about the very top of the FBI being involved with this, you have to ask yourself, would they do this on their own initiative, or where was the FBI getting their instructions?
That's right. Here's another report that was leaked out to the media, I'm sure by the desperate FBI folks, that Trump asked Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, "Are you on my team?" I think that's a fair question for the president to ask.
That's just another scrap they're trying to throw in front of the wheels.
That's right. Now, the disgraced FBI agent, another piece of scrap they threw out, is that the disgraced FBI agent Peter Strzok drafted the letter about reopening the Clinton probe just before the election, as if to say that he was being fair to both sides. But I think that's just another smokescreen too, Joe.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we're done with that until tomorrow. We can't say much more about it because we don't know what's in the DACA memo. We pretty much told you what we think about it. But I can tell you, you ought to have your TVs on and your phones alive tomorrow morning for all the buzzes that are going to occur.
I'm not sure watching CNN will help you, because they'll obviously find that it was all Trump's fault.
The Clown News Network? No, I don't think we're going to see it there. That's not going to happen. But let's just go to the graphic. This is what we have to say to you. Mr. President, release the memo. No redactions. Let us see the truth. I know Donald Trump will stand up for the truth in this matter. Now, we're going to move on to the DACA deal, because today at the GOP retreat, President Trump addressed the Republicans, and he revealed a very interesting insight. You know how Ann Coulter and a lot of the hardline conservatives were all upset that Trump offered citizenship for all $1.8 million so-called dreamers as a bargaining chip to get his wall funding of $25 billion, tough enforcement, the end of the chain lottery, and the end of the visa lottery program, chain migration and the visa lottery. Well, Trump explained to the Republicans a little bit of his strategy, and then you'll have a comment about that coming out, Joe. Let's listen.
One of the reasons I gave a number that was, I thought, a very generous number was because I wanted to see whether or not they were interested in approving that. Because if they don't approve something within that sphere, that means, very simply, that they're not looking to approve it at all. They want to use it for an election issue, but it's now an election issue that will go to our benefit, not their benefit.
That's right. That's right. Rush, everybody's been getting an earful about this. Rush got an earful on his show from Trump supporters who says that Trump's caving on this. And Rush had an interesting take. He says, this is a quote. He says, Donald Trump or somebody in there knew that this deal would be rejected. I believe it's possible that this whole deal, you might call it a trick, you might call it a grand strategy. But I think it was offered knowing that the Democrats would reject this. After that happens, what then? And Trump can say, which I think he just did, hey, I offered it. I'm trying to meet him halfway. We're trying to do something for the kids. And once again, it's the Democrats who say they're not interested. It's the Democrats who are walking away, end quote.
And in fact, once again, it's a great chess move by Trump, and everybody else is saying, why does he do these things? There's absolute wisdom in everything he does, because he exposes the hypocrisy of the Democrats, who are screaming they want, the citizenship for the dreamers. And Trump says, okay, here it is. Here you go. Now what?
Well, in wrestling, they call that a reversal. This DACA issue is supposedly something the Democrats wanted to keep alive to use during the election. The president just said that. But Trump's turned it around on him, and now DACA is not going to work for the Democrats because the Democrats are the problem.
It's going to backfire. It's going to backfire. Now, on to the State of the Union, the epic State of the Union. I mean, MSNBC, CNN, they just went apoplectic, and they look for all kinds of dark motivations, and they called it racist and divisive. If you listen to or you watch this State of the Union, it was the woven story of America and its people. And it was the most masterful State of the Union I've seen since Reagan, and in fact, it even matches Reagan in its masterful presentation. So let's listen to him describe, starting off with discussing the epic first year of Donald Trump, not number two.
Over the last year, we have made incredible progress and achieved extraordinary success. We have faced challenges we expected and others we could never have imagined. We have shared in the heights of victory and the pains of hardship. We have endured floods and fires and storms. But through it all, we have seen the beauty of America's soul and the steel in America's spine. Each test has forged new American heroes to remind us who we are and show us what we can be.
And the gallery was filled with honored guests, a cavalcade of American heroes and heroines that the president, one by one, used to paint his story of what the American spirit is all about, starting with Coast Guard Petty Officer Ashley Lefferts and firefighter David Dahlberg, number three.
Ashley was aboard one of the first helicopters on the scene in Houston during the Hurricane Harvey. Through 18 hours of wind and rain, Ashley braved live power lines and deep water to help save more than 40 lives. Ashley, we all thank you. Thank you very much. We heard about Americans like firefighter David Dahlberg. He's here with us also. David faced down walls of flame to rescue almost 60 children trapped at a California summer camp threatened by those devastating wildfires. To everyone still recovering in Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, everywhere, we are with you, we love you, and we always will pull through together, always.
What a dark, divisive message, Joe.
They did try to play that when we get to the parents who were grieving, and it was horrible.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
And then on to the Louisiana legend. Next cut.
Some trials over the past year touched this chamber very personally. With us tonight is one of the toughest people ever to serve in this House. A guy who took a bullet, almost died, and was back to work 3.5 months later. The legend from Louisiana, Congressman Steve Scalise. I think they like you, Steve. We're incredibly grateful for the heroic efforts of the Capitol Police officers, the Alexandria Police, and the doctors, nurses, and paramedics who saved his life and the lives of many others, some in this room. In the aftermath,
Yes, and of course, again, it wasn't about Trump. It was about we the people. It was not about Trump. He said we, not me.
He didn't take the obvious shot where that was a Bernie Sanders radical liberal that shot those Republicans down.
That's right. Okay. And of course, then he declared that we are a safe, strong, and proud America.
Over the last year, the world has seen what we always knew, that no people on earth are so fearless or daring or determined as Americans. If there is a mountain, we climb it. If there's a frontier, we cross it. If there's a challenge, we tame it. If there's an opportunity, we seize it. So let's begin tonight by recognizing that the state of our union is strong because our people are strong. And together we are building a safe, strong, and proud America.
And, of course, you may have noticed, Joe told me just a while ago that which Fed is projecting 5.4% GDP?
Oh, let me get that for you. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta's, they have a model that they call the GDP Now. The economy is going to kick off the first quarter of 2018 with a stunning 5.4% surge in GDP, which would be the most rapid growth since the end of the Great Recession of 2009, according to CNBC.
How about that? And what do you have to say about that, Mr. President?
Since the election, we have created 2.4 million new jobs, including 200,000 new jobs in manufacturing alone. Tremendous numbers. After years and years of wage stagnation, we are finally seeing rising wages. Unemployment claims have hit a 45-year low. And something I'm very proud of, African American unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever recorded. And Hispanic American unemployment has also reached the lowest levels in history.
Those of you watching on the webcast saw the picture of the Black Caucus sitting on their hands.
They're going to have to live with that picture for a very long time.
That's right. We're going to have to go to a break and return with more in just a moment.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. You have the right place on the dial, and when we return, you'll hear more Trump Talk Live, telling the truth about all things Trump.
Get your art on at Granada Grand, the 2018 Ormond Beach Festival of the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the City Hall Complex along West Granada Boulevard and all points between. With over 60 visual artists and live musical performances, the festival showcases the region's arts community, all within the Ormond Beach Arts District. The festival also offers a beer and wine garden, food trucks, and sponsor displays. Don't miss Ormond Beach's premier arts experience, Granada Grand Festival of the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. The festival and parking are free. The Kids Art Zone and family activities are also free. For a full event schedule, visit OrmondMainStreet.com or call 386-492-2938. Hosted by Ormond Main Street and sponsored by Ritchie Auto Group, Florida Hospital, Adams Cameron, Robbins Camper Sales, SR Parat, The News Journal, City of Ormond Beach, and Ruin Zifra. Brought to you by WNDB.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
Okay, we want to thank our sponsors, Marino's Pizza in DeLand, best pizza in West Volusia, Milne Roofing. Call Milne Roofing, 386-986-8688. And Sonia Morey, make her your State Farm agent in DeLand. Ask Sonia for an insurance checkup.
All right, let's go back to the State of the Union. He talked about small businesses, 401ks, college savings boosted by the tax reforms. This is what Nancy Pelosi calls crumbs, but let's talk about, Mr. President, what does it mean?
Small business confidence is at an all-time high. The stock market has smashed one record after another, gaining $8 trillion and more in value in just this short period of time. The great news for Americans, 401k, retirement pension, and college savings accounts have gone through the roof. And just as I promised the American people from this podium 11 months ago, we enacted the biggest tax cuts and reforms in American history.
I should point out that this State of the Union was viewed by 46 million people. That's the biggest audience for State of the Union since Barack Obama's first State of the Union in 2010. Also, the president talked about tax cuts. Tax cuts. You know, something's happened about tax cuts. You remember how they said they were unpopular? That's because they were buying the the lie from the Democrats that it wouldn't help their lives. But let's listen to what the tax cuts have done, Mr. President.
Our massive tax cuts provide tremendous relief for the middle class and small business. To lower tax rates for hardworking Americans, we nearly doubled the standard deduction for everyone. Now the first $24,000 earned by a married couple is completely tax-free. We also doubled the child tax credit. A typical family of four making $75,000 will see their tax bill reduced by $2,000, slashing their tax bill in half.
And no, Nancy, it's not crumbs, it's not chump change, it's
not
real
a single
money to Americans.
Democrat voted for the tax bill, folks. Not a single Democrat.
But now Americans are absolutely thrilled. Today, for the first day, for a lot of people, Thursday is payday. And today is the first payday. In a very long time, they got a fatter paycheck because the tax burden taken out of their withholding was
February
much
1st,
less
that's right.
as of today. You know, April 15th has changed forever, says the president. Let's listen.
In April, this will be the last time you will ever file under the old and very broken system, and millions of Americans will have more take-home pay starting next month, a lot more.
And even more importantly, we got rid of something that a lot of Americans hated. It was a huge burden, and it was nothing like affordable. What was it, Mr. President, we got rid of?
We eliminated an especially cruel tax that fell mostly on Americans making less than $50,000 a year, forcing them to pay tremendous penalties simply because they couldn't afford government-ordered health plans. We repealed the core of the disastrous Obamacare. The individual mandate is now gone.
And business tax cuts to make us among the most competitive nations in the world from the least competitive.
We slashed the business tax rate from 35% all the way down to 21%, so American companies can compete and win against anyone else anywhere in the world. These changes alone are estimated to increase average family income by more than $4,000. A lot of money.
The president introduced a small business-owning family from the Midwest and what's happened to their business as a result of the tax cuts.
Here tonight are Steve Staub, and Sandy Keplinger of Staub Manufacturing, a small, beautiful business in Ohio. They've just finished the best year in their 20-year history. Because of tax reform, they are handing out raises, hiring an additional 14 people, and expanding into the building next door. Good feeling. One of Staub's employees, Corey Adams, is also with us tonight. Corey is an all-American worker. He supported himself through high school, lost his job during the 2008 recession, and was later hired by Staub, where he trained to become a welder. Like many hardworking Americans, Corey plans to invest his tax cut raise into his new home and his two daughters' education.
Wonderful. He describes this as our new American moment. That sounds like Morning in America all over again, doesn't it, Joe?
It does.
Our new American moment. Let's listen to how he describes this.
Since we passed tax cuts, roughly 3 million workers have already gotten tax cut bonuses, many of them thousands and thousands of dollars per worker, and it's getting more every month, every week. Apple has just announced it plans to invest a total of $350 billion in America and hire another 20,000 workers. And just a little while ago, ExxonMobil announced a $50 billion investment in the United States. Just a little while ago. This, in fact, is our new American moment. There has never been a better time to start living the American dream. So to every citizen watching at home tonight, no matter where you've been or where you've come from, this is your time. If you work hard, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in America, then you can dream anything. You can be anything. And together, we can achieve absolutely anything.
What a dark and dreary message, Joe.
Oh, the Democrats did not applaud that line.
Yeah, of course. Okay, our new American moment. Now, here's another thing. Here's right in the face of the NFL just before the Super Bowl. Stand up for the anthem. Listen.
All of us together as one team, one people, and one American family can do anything. We all share the same home, the same heart, the same destiny, and the same great American flag. Together, we are rediscovering the American way. In America, we know that faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, are the center of American life. The motto is, "In God we trust." And we celebrate our police, our military, and our amazing veterans as heroes who deserve our total and unwavering support. Here tonight is Preston Sharp, a 12-year-old boy from Redding, California, who noticed that veterans' graves were not marked with flags on Veterans Day. He decided all by himself to change that and started a movement that has now placed 40,000 flags at the graves of our great heroes. Preston, a job well done. Young patriots like Preston teach all of us about our civic duty as Americans. And I met Preston a little while ago, and he is something very special that I can tell you. Great future. Thank you very much for all you've done, Preston. Thank you very much. Preston's reverence for those who have served our nation reminds us of why we salute our flag, why we put our hands on our hearts for the Pledge of Allegiance, and why we proudly stand for the national anthem.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Oh, the Democrats did not applaud that line either.
Oh, they didn't. And, of course, they didn't like this from the president either about what's going on with the judiciary.
Working with the Senate, we are appointing judges who will interpret the Constitution as written, including a great new Supreme Court justice and more circuit court judges than any new administration in the history of our country.
And he broke a little news when talking about VA accountability, which he got the Congress to pass last year. And as a result, Dr. David Shulkin, the Secretary of the VA, has managed to do some house cleaning. Let's listen.
And we are serving our brave veterans, including giving our veterans choice in their health care decisions. Last year, Congress also passed, and I signed, the landmark VA Accountability Act. Since its passage, my administration has already removed more than 1,500 VA employees who failed to give our veterans the care they deserve. And we are hiring talented people who love our vets as much as we do.
And just a brief comment from the president about what he wants to do for the same kind of accountability for the rest of the federal government. You saw 1,500 VA employees are gone who did not serve veterans. He wants to do the same thing across the entire federal government. Let's listen.
So tonight I call on Congress to empower every cabinet secretary with the authority to reward good workers and to remove federal employees who undermine the public trust or fail the American people.
You can't beat that, Joe.
Whoa, the Democrats really don't like that one.
Oh, that really skews them, right?
That's their base is the government employee.
Hold that thought for 1 minute. We'll return with more of the epic State of the Union when we return.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. We'll return in a moment to bring you more Trump Talk Live, shedding the light of truth from that shining city on a hill.
The Taste of New Orleans comes to Mardi Gras weekend in New Smyrna Beach with the 4th annual New Smyrna Beach Gumbo Festival. The flavors will flow on Flagler Avenue on Saturday, February 10th from noon till 5. Taste multiple gumbos from local eateries and vote on your favorites. Gumbo tasting passports are just $15, and passports are sure to sell out, so order yours early by texting GUMBO to 40691. That's GUMBO to 40691. Or go to nsbgumbo.eventbrite.com. Passports can also be purchased on site at 3 START locations along Flagler Avenue. Gather your friends and family and come ready to celebrate Mardi Gras weekend at the 4th annual New Smyrna Beach Gumbo Festival, Saturday, February 10th from noon till 5. For more information on Mardi Gras weekend, go to partyonflagler.com. Sponsored by Riverside Clinical Research, New Smyrna Chevy, Metro PCS, and the Flagler Avenue Hospitality Group. Brought to you by WNDB.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
Welcome back. We have to go fast. We've got enough material here for 3 shows. So, yeah, one important thing, prescription drug prices. For many people, many patients, Joe, the cost of the prescriptions, that's the barrier to good health because you cannot afford it. We need more competition. The president is proposing a remedy for America, and this is what he said.
We have ended the war to speed access to breakthrough cures and affordable generic drugs. Last year, the FDA approved more new and generic drugs and medical devices than ever before in our country's history. We also believe that patients with terminal conditions, terminal illness, should have access to experimental treatment immediately that could potentially save their lives. People who are terminally ill should not have to go from country to seek a cure. I want to give them a chance right here at home. It's time for Congress to give these wonderful, incredible Americans the right to try. One of my greatest priorities is to reduce the price of prescription drugs. In many other countries, these drugs cost far less than what we pay in the United States, and it's very, very unfair. That is why I've directed my administration to make fixing the injustice of high drug prices one of my top priorities for the year. And prices will come down substantially. Watch.
If he says so, it's going to happen. He wants, of course, more fair trade agreements that put America first, not second. And he's talked about how he intends to rebuild America.
America is a nation of builders. We built the Empire State Building in just 1 year. Isn't it a disgrace that it can now take 10 years just to get a minor permit approved for the building of a simple road? I am asking both parties to come together to give us safe, fast, reliable, and modern infrastructure that our economy needs and our people deserve. Tonight, I'm calling on Congress to produce a bill that generates at least $1.5 trillion for the new infrastructure investment that our country so desperately needs. Every federal dollar should be leveraged by partnering with state and local governments and, where appropriate, tapping into private sector investment to permanently fix the infrastructure deficit, and we can do.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do. Leverage private money and have the state and local governments participate. Not all federal money. We're $21 trillion in debt, Joe. We got to move on that. Okay, he introduced Evelyn Rodriguez, Freddie Cuevas, Elizabeth Alvarado, and Robert Mickens, the parents of two teenage girls that were slain by illegal alien criminals. This is number 23.
My greatest compassion, my constant concern is for, while we cannot imagine the depths of that kind of sorrow, we can make sure that other families never have to endure this kind of pain. Tonight I am calling on Congress to finally close the deadly loopholes that have allowed MS-13 and other criminal gangs to break into our country. We have proposed new legislation that will fix our immigration laws and support our ICE and Border Patrol agents. These are great people. These are great, great people that work so hard in the midst of such danger so that this can never happen again. My greatest compassion, my constant concern is for America's children, America's struggling workers, and America's forgotten communities. I want our youth to grow up, to achieve great things. I want our poor to have their chance to rise. So tonight I am extending an open hand to work with members of both parties Democrats and Republicans, to protect our citizens of every background, color, religion, and creed. My duty and the sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too.
Okay, we're going to skip down because we're running low on time. Americans are dreamers too. And of course, the American Civil Liberties Union objected to Trump saying the word America during his address so frequently. What country do we live in, folks? America. Sorry. Now, Sung Ho, held up as the Warmbier family were given tribute. Their son Otto killed by the North Koreans. Trump talked about that menace. He talked about his 4 pillars, which we talked about earlier in the show. We don't need to repeat that. Okay, so he wants that, and the Democrats are just apoplectic. They don't know what to do. Sung Ho is a perfect example of a freedom fighter, a defector who lost his legs going for freedom, and on crutches walked 1,000 miles to freedom, and he works to free other defectors from North Korea to free. He's a freedom fighter, a courageous soul. Trump told his story, and
today he lives in Seoul, where he rescues other defectors and broadcasts into North Korea what the regime fears most, the truth. Today he has a new leg, but Sung Ho, I understand you still keep those old crutches as a reminder of how far you've come.
That goes longer, but I want to go to the end. He talked about the monuments, including the dome above his head, the monuments to freedom, and let's listen. We're going to listen to a part of that.
Atop the dome of this Capitol stands the Statue of Freedom. She stands tall and dignified among the monuments to our ancestors who fought and lived and died to protect her. Monuments to Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln and King. Memorials to the heroes of Yorktown and Saratoga. To young Americans who shed their blood on the shores of Normandy and the fields beyond, and others who went down in the waters of the Pacific and the skies all over Asia. And freedom stands tall over one more monument, this one, this Capitol, this living monument. This is the monument to the American people.
The American people. And that was what that speech was about. The American people responded. A CBS News flash poll right after the speech indicated 75% of the American people. That includes about 98% of Republicans and,
43% of Democrats. I saw the breakdown.
43% of Democrats approved of that speech. They thought it was positive and uplifting. Don't go look to MSNBC or CNN for that kind of opinion. How did the speech make you feel? Proud, 65%. Safer, 35%. Scared, 14%. Angry, 21%. Party identification, Republicans among speech watchers were 42%, Democrats 25%, Independents 33%.
The scared column really gets me. Did anyone ask on a poll after Obama gave a State of the Union how many people were scared? Why is that question on the poll?
I have no idea. Now, the Blue Wave poll evaporates. 2018 generic ballot is back to a dead heat. Forget about your taking back the Congress, folks. Nancy, fancy Nancy, give it up. You're done. We've got about 2 minutes to talk about this, Joe. So I wanted to leave some room for us to talk because the president laid it out last night. What he did, or not last night, Tuesday night, what he did was he basically gave a Reagan-esque ode to America. And it was elevated language. We know his speechwriter, Stephen Miller, must have written it because he's written most of it.
That had Stephen Miller's fingerprints all over it. He's brilliant.
It is the kind of stuff that gave us thrills and chills when we just listened to Reagan speak. And Donald Trump has hit a stride as president. Don't you agree?
When you address the American people and you uplift them, and you set yourself for success, for winning, and you have the opposition party sit there and look like they're at a funeral, you know that something's very wrong with the Democratic Party. How out of step can these people be?
Well, it's all about them winning a game instead of winning for America. What about the American people? What about the working mom and dad who barely bring home $40,000 and all of a sudden are finding their tax bill has evaporated because of Donald Trump?
Well, the Democrats actually don't care about those people. That's pretty obvious because all the things that were mentioned last night, they did not approve of.
That's right. Another James Delingpole article says it's over. Now even the Democrats give up on climate change. They didn't talk about it at all last
Never
night,
mentioned.
because Trump has basically pulled it for the hoax it is. Also, the Trump administration has designated the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. And the Department of Trey Gowdy, we're going to miss Trey Gowdy in Congress. Because he's not going to run for re-election. We're not sure what his plans will be. I'd love to see him take over as the FBI director, but we'll see what happens. We will be with you again next week and then again on the 22nd for the 2-hour finale of Trump Talk Live. So do not miss the last 2 episodes of Trump Talk Live. We'll see you next week on Trump Talk Live.
Feeling stuck in a state of compensation stagnation? You know, another year with no raise. Then let State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand help you get to a better state with a discount double check that can stretch your hard-earned dollars a little farther. Sonia will go through your car insurance to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. Discounts that could add up to 40% and put a few hundred extra dollars in your pocket. Sound good? Then get your budget to a better state by calling State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand today. Discounts may vary state to state.
You've been listening to Trump Talk Live, making America great again, 1 hour at a time. Follow us at Volusia County Republican Party on Facebook or go to our website, TrumpTalkLive.com for updates. Join your Trumpublican hosts, Vic Baker and Tony Ledbetter, for another fearless edition of Trump Talk Live next Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on WNDB 1150 AM and 93.5 FM. Trump Talk Live is presented each week by the Republican Party of Volusia County, where we the people have the right voice when it comes to defending America's founding values. In God we trust, in America we believe.
The Republican Executive Committee of Volusia County is responsible for the content of this advertising.